We got any judges in this room that haven't put in their lanyard yet? Have them, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you're on the list there, Chris. I'm on the list. Yeah, you're in the system.
We just had the wrong. Jackie and the Amber.
Amber's here. Hit 5 for now. Cindy.
Cindy, of course. Cindy should be on here. Cindy Hargreaves, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have an up-to-date list of the judges, so who else is supposed to be on this one?
Catherine, Amber, James, Kay. We've got Esther here. I don't know why her name isn't on there.
So it sounds like something has changed from this original list.
Obviously. Yeah, things are getting changed around quite a lot. I hate not having their names up there. Although I shouldn't forget who Esther is.
You'd hope you don't forget who she is.
What was her name? Be a sure sign of Alzheimer's or something. Now, one of your jobs is going to be making bloody sure that I read at the time.
Okay.
Because I'm going to forget, because I'm not used to doing that. So we need to just slow down and read that and make sure that we read out the title, otherwise we get into trouble. This was an interesting thing that happened this morning, this thing here. It's a little bit of a...
Does the computer recognise that?
No, there's a situation whereby if there's an elected challenge, anybody can actually challenge it in the gold area. But they have to vote it. They have to actually put it gold in the first place. So someone was trying to take it on that wasn't gold, and I let them do it because it wasn't sort of clarified in that regard. So now honours have clarified it. What's happening words? So who are we?
So Jane can't come on, so that means we've only got
Have you got Esther?
4, no, 2. Esther's go.
Right, come on. Can I have your... Oh, Esther, here. Right. So how many have we got now?
Well, that gives us 5 to start with.
Well, we have got exclusion there to begin with.
Jane out.
So we've got Jane out. So we've got 5 to start off with.
So 5 to start with, a good try.
Nice to see a few more popping up, though, because we're getting the exclusions. We're going to be in trouble. Okay.
That sounds like if you're in finals judging.
Yeah, I know. Okay, if I can call the room to attention, please. We're here to judge the creative category, which apparently is sponsored by Nikon, and I'll read out the description in a moment. My name is Terry Reeford-Han, if anybody don't know me, and I'm being assisted by Cindy Hargreaves. We've got students helping out the back, which I'd like to thank. I didn't get their names this time around, but they are there, and you see their little faces pop through. So that's it. They do a great job. I'd also like to show an appreciation for Honours, who do a fantastic job all the time, and they work very hard behind the scenes. So just before we go through the run-through, I'm just going to read out the category description. Now, the category, the creative category recognises images that push the traditional boundaries of photographic practice through conceptual and abstract images with a diverse range of techniques. The image does not necessarily need to depict a narrative, but can evoke emotion. Entries may explore a range of contemporary and historical approaches and processes. While this category caters for a wide range of work, including mixed media, the primary communication should be photographic. So we could see some interesting things, and it's an exciting category to judge, and it's just a little bit looser by the sounds of it, so very cool. So we're... this is... Oh, okay. We just got a little bit of a delay. Just waiting on somebody. So as you were. I'm not going to call any judges to the panel at the moment, but I'll just run through some of the names that we've got judging today, and quite a few of these are actually Grandmasters. Jackie Rankin, Chris Anderson, Rebecca Kempton, Catherine Katanak, Amber Griffin, Janine Fletcher, Kay Davis, Mandarin Montgomery, Christopher Ian, Angela Wood, and Esther Bunning. So we've got some good names there as judges. Very exciting. And we're waiting. Who said that? Hmm? Yeah, I know. Welcome also to everybody listening at home. We're just waiting on a few things to happen here and haven't been given the go-ahead yet. But we're all waiting here with bated breath, waiting for the first image. I'm waiting for the run-through, actually. So why do we have to wait? I don't really understand. Oh, we need everybody to be here. And as you know, the principal sponsor is Sony, and we've got a trade show here, and Sony have got a stand, of course, and go and see Aaron, Kevin, and the Sony trade stand with your Sony kit for firmware updates, and you can also get your sensor cleaned, which is pretty good going, isn't it? And they're also running a Sony Tough card giveaway. So stop by the stand and complete a short survey to be in the draw for that. Canon's also got a stand. Pop along and see Tom, Jeff, Joseph and Ollie. And if you drop in there, they'll check your gear and they'll also apply the latest latest firmware to your camera. Where are we going? So we've got to delay a few minutes, people. I will try and keep you entertained. You can talk amongst yourselves. What can I do? Oh, I know what we can do. We can pick on a judge and talk about them. Who have we got? Let's have a look, see. Apparently we're waiting on judges to appear. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Girls and boys, there's a bit of a delay, I'm afraid. So we're going to pick on a few judges to talk about them. Amber, are you here? Amber Griffin. Ah, I managed to find your bio. So Amber is a Grand Master of the NZIPP. Amber Griffin is a commercial photographer and a creative portrait artist. Best known for her dance and movement photography, Amber specializes in creative portraiture from a purpose-built studio in the Wairarapa. Yay, the Wairarapa. Amber loves to collaborate with other creative souls to produce work that transcends the boundaries of expectation and borders photographic genres. She works cohesively with her clients to create bespoke portraits that is both meaningful and authentic to their shared vision. Amber's work has received multiple awards at the highest levels, both nationally and internationally, including a silver and gold medal at the World Photographic Cup. Most recently, Amber was awarded the 2022 Australian Photographic Prize, International Photographer of the Year, as well as the 2022 NZIPP Commercial Photographer of the Year. Amber is a country girl at heart and loves spending time in her garden with her young family and their many animals in the sunny Wairarapa. Well done, Amber. Who else have we got? Let's have a look. That's Mandarin Montgomery. Aha. Page 26. Mandarin Montgomery. Is she in the room still?
She's getting lunch.
She's getting a lunch. So I suppose we can still pick on her while she's not here. Mandarin. Got it. Mandarin Montgomery. Is Melbourne-based. As a Melbourne-based creative and recipient of the Ilford Trophy. She has 40 plus awards, including International Loop Award, overall winner, and Canon Australian Portrait Photographer of the Year. She received Masters 4 with the former AIPP. Her art shifts from the conceptual to the surreal, with a sprinkling of live performance photography too, where she has captured some well-known artists, including her favourite band, Duran Duran. Her images feature in their annual calendar. On their annual calendar. Yeah, on their annual calendar. That's pretty cool, eh? She exhibited in Australia and internationally, having also featured in books and magazines, and helped contribute $16,000 to Make-A-Wish in Australia for one of her pieces sold at a charity auction. That's a pretty good thing, isn't it? $16,000. Impressive. She enjoys contributing to the creative development of emerging artists with one-on-one guidance and via the competitions she judges. Most recently, the 2022 NZIPP Iris Awards and the APP, which is the Australian Photographic Prize. Rebecca Kempton. You didn't actually write much, did you? No, it's your bio. There's a bit more to you than that, surely. Oh, well. Oh. No, really? Are you sure? You can come up here and you can chat away to this audience. They're all getting, You can tell me about me. Well, I have to speak. I am. So, yeah, Rebecca is a full-time commercial and family photographer based in Greytown in the Wairarapa region. She holds a Master of Photography with distinction, 1 bar with the NZIPP, and have been category finalists in the landscape and documentary categories 4 times. Always. Yeah. Her passion is documentary and landscape photography and loves photographing people. And she says abstract stuff. No, I'm going to pick on my wife next. It's supposed to be on page 3. Oh no, you're on page 4. The lovely Esther Bunning is an accredited professional photographer, NZIPP Honorary Fellow, NZIPP Grand Master of Photography, twice? Yeah, I think so. She's an award-winning photographer and has a style that is both instantly recognizable and difficult to pin down. Esther produces images that transcend photography. She is recognized as one of New Zealand's most innovative portrait photographers. She is a Nikon ambassador for New Zealand and an NZIPP book ambassador for Australia. Esther's portrait photography goes beyond capturing physical likeness or simple aesthetics. Work delves into the subtleties and complexities and makes each person unique. She likes to challenge traditional notions of portraiture, offering viewers a glimpse into a world that exists beyond the confines of a single frame. The dreamy pastiche that characterizes her style invites viewers to connect with their own emotions and experiences and captures an interplay between vulnerability and strengths and proves a visual voice about the complexity of humanity. Esther is proud to be an accredited member of the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photography, and she's a double Grand Master and an honorary fellow. Wherever possible, she prefers the challenge of creating a photographic magic in camera and crafting in the moment, using creative lenses and all sorts of things she dangles in front of the camera, plus multiple exposures and a whole load of other stuff. Yeah, she has an interesting array of tools that she shoots through. A fun fact about Esther, need to ask her about a star Christmas decoration that accompanies on all her shoots. Esther's got it with her. It's in a bag apparently. It's a little star that you can sort of distorts the images. She waves it in front of the camera. How are we doing? I'm going to have no voice left by the time we get going. Yeah, quite sure why we're running so late. Now, anybody that has got an awarded print, Honours have invited them to donate it to the NZIPP so that it can be auctioned. So anybody wishing to donate their awarded print, see someone from Honours at the front desk, and they would appreciate your contribution. I've never had the chance to run through all the notes before. It's pretty cool, isn't it? No, you don't want to hear about me. I could bore you to death with my latest project, which is photographing native fish, but Okay, little test here. How many people in the room can name the whitebait species? Yep, I saw a hand come up over there. The whitebait species? The whitebait species of freshwater fish. No, whitebait. Whitebait are interestingly, whitebait is a term that is not just unique to New Zealand. It describes any set of fish that swim up the estuary and get caught and put into a fish pate. So, but in our case, we've got 5 fish. 3 of them are cockapoos. There's the banded cockapoo, the short jaw cockapoo, and the giant cockapoo. And we're ready to go before you get bored to death with my freshwater fish project. So does this mean we're ready to go?
I believe so. Paper? I'm not sure if you've got any more. Oh, paper?
Thank you, Kay. Thank you, everybody. For exclusions. Do you want, how many pieces do you want? Take a whole piece. You can rip it up. Okay, at last, everybody. I think we are ready for the run-through. So if we can have a bit of quiet. Is everybody's cell phone off? That'd be cool. Okay, let's get into it. Okay. Yeah. Some wonderful imagery there. Very exciting. So let's pick some judges for the judging panel. Can we have Chris Anderson, please? Don McGrath. Sorry, Dan McGrath. Catherine Kadanak. Rebecca Kempton. And Amber Griffin, please. Sorry. Run me through it again. So you don't want to be on the panel. Okay. Jackie, can you take the place, Rebecca, please? Thank you. Okay, we're all set, all logged in and happy to go? Yep, yep, yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll have our first lovely print, please. Ah, yes, I do. Now, this one does have a caption, which is called Image on Silk. Majority. That's 81. That's a good start, judges. We have a majority of 3, 85 silver distinction. It's pretty clean across the board as well. So we will take a comment, please. And I don't see any hands waving at me, so we'll pick someone. Jackie.
Yeah, I was on that 85. There's so much sort of layered spirituality somehow in this. It comes down to that, for me, the golden words that spiral in. We don't need to read them, but we can feel them, and it's expert. Well done.
Thank you, Jackie, and we'll accept that score. And next print, please. There is no title on this one. Print starts off with a score of 83, and there is an elective challenge from Catherine. Would you like to take it?
Yeah, I gave this 86. I think it's really quite beautiful, and it's the kind of image that I would love to actually look at for a lot longer. I'm sort of seeing cogs and sparkles and galactic kind of stuff going on here. I think it's a beautiful graphic image that's been really well balanced with the darker corners, and then you've got the really thin black frame going around there which ends, and then these coggy sparkly things spill out. It's quite, it's very striking, and haven't really seen anything like it, so I'd love to talk about it a bit more.
Right, you are. You're all up there actually, but maybe Dan, you would like to go next?
I scored it 81. I was impressed by the creativity of the image. I didn't quite understand it. I think that's maybe Catherine has helped me with her explanation a little bit, which makes it more understandable. I see snowflakes and cogs and things that you said now, so I'll consider coming up as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Any other support there? Jackie, would you like to talk?
I scored at 82, and the reason why I guess I'll be challenged to go up is there's a bit of a copy and paste from the top right to the bottom left, and that some of those elements are repeated, and I would have seen, if ice crystals, everything is individual and everything is totally different, but there's some repetition in there that takes away that meaning for me, or that layer of meaning, but a really lovely print.
Anybody else?
I was actually also on 82, Jackie, but I think that this is quite a beautiful homage to symmetry and pattern, and I think that the symmetry, even though it may be rotated from that top corner to down here, is forgiven because of the way that it breaks out of the frame on the bottom right like that. So the longer that I sit with this piece, the more impressed with it I am, and I'm coming up to join you, Catherine.
Thank you. Amber? Anybody else? It's back to you, Catherine, please. Sum it up.
Yeah, I really don't think that we need to understand this. This is a beautiful graphic piece, and for me, that symmetry strengthens it in those two darker corners, because the photographer has then chosen to break that, and they're saying something by that break, that lovely pale line that sort of tumbles down through it. The presentation of this and the actual print quality is really quite exquisite. Each little hexagon is a little treasure, really, and you just kind of want to dive in there. I think it's really creative and really original, so let's bring it to silver distinction.
Thanks, Catherine. Let's go for it, guys. And you did that. You brought it up to a silver distinction at 85. Well done. And we'll accept that and have the next print, please. This one has a title, In Camera Multiple Exposure. It's a score of 75, and that is pretty even across the board, so we'll take a comment, please. Yeah.
So I was on 77. I think this is it's a great use of multiple exposure, and I love the way that flower in the center feels like fire, and it's exploding out of the print. I would have gone a little bit higher. There are some portions where it transitions from red to kind of that darker color, where it goes through a white, and that it loses some of its amazingness. But bronze is really good, so congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. We'll accept that score. And when I get the cursor in the right place. Next print, please. No, I should have said there's no caption on this one. Has a score of 81. there's a potential challenge there, and Jackie would like to take it up. What's your score, Jackie?
Yeah, I scored at 86. I feel a kind of a narrative and lots of layers. My narrative is a sense of a whale on that right-hand side, which concurs with all the blues and the sense of Earth and planets, even though it's an egg shape. I don't understand the whites, but they feel creamy and textured. They have a three-dimensionality to it that my eye really enjoyed, and I would look at this for a long time to try and work out what it's all about. And that attention has got me at 86.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll take a comment from Dan, please.
I didn't really understand the picture, but I saw the whale and a lot of, I can only imagine its blood. It's quite a disturbing picture, really, when I looked at it, and I left it down there, I'm afraid, but I'll consider coming up a little bit.
Yeah, Chris, go for it.
So I was on 81. I didn't see the whale at first. I saw a beach shack. So like there's this trail of beach that leads up the left to this little shack. Now that there's a whale in it, I know what I'm doing when I'm at that beach shack. I'm whale watching. I love the narrative that we've just woven together, and I'm probably going to move up.
Catherine, you're next.
You're going to laugh at this, but I'm seeing a princess. A princess. So the figure on the left there, the dark bit, that's her hair, and then she's got a face. She's got an arm coming down, and she's sort of got a raised red knee. And then when Jackie said there's a whale as well, I'm like, oh. So yeah, I gave this an 82. I do find that bright beach, whatever we're going to call it, heading out to the right, does take me out of the image. But I think, this is intriguing. It's been beautifully printed as well, and we're all seeing a lot in this. So obviously we could be rewarded if we had longer as well. So yeah, let's take it up there.
Okay, Jackie, take it away.
Yeah, well said. It's lots of things for everybody. It's about an intrigue and emotion and our own storytelling, and that sort of feels like human mark making. It could be, this is a mixed media category. It could be paint that is deliberately wiped onto there too, and it works. 86.
Thanks, Jackie. Let's put the scores in. Sitting on 81. And oh gosh, it's got an 85 silver distinction. It's good. Some good conversation going on there, and we'll accept that score and have our next print, please. This one.
Jane, can I get you to jump on for Jackie?
Jackie, can you
Do you want me to change names?
If you could, that would be great.
okay. We're all set, aren't we? Yeah, but how did that come up? Okay, we have a silver distinction at 85. It's fairly even across the board. So we'll accept that and perhaps grab a comment, please. Dan.
This is a highly evocative image of Venice, and Venice, as we know, is sinking, and so this has got the movement that is helping or hindering Venice and making it sink. I really feel it's a beautiful picture, and yeah, I think we've scored it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next print, please. It's Amber, isn't it? Yeah, she looks different. There is indeed a description, you're right. This is an in-camera capture attached to silk message. In-camera capture attached silk message. Print scores 80 as a potential challenge from Amber.
I'll take the challenge. I'm on 85, which I realise is becoming a theme. But I've awarded this for the beautiful simplicity of the way that this image is constructed. Sorry, I just need to... and something about the seasons, accepting the seasons of your heart, I think was just a beautiful message that speaks to the state of this woman's mental well-being. I just think it's a beautiful message and it deserves to be rewarded.
Thank you, Amber. Well, let's go to Chris, please.
So I was down on 78 and I was really kind of moving around the score in my head. I think photographically what's there is great. Like it's as a single capture, and the choice to use a technique to blur out eyes and to leave that mouth, and everything's, you know, sharp the way it should be. And then the added message, and that's where I probably lost my nerve, because there was a story there and I'm going like, yes, it's covering her heart. Do I still want to see it? Do I want that detail? And I'm a bit conflicted about the placement of the note. I get why it's over her chest, that's where her heart is, but I also want to see it. So that's probably, if you can help me get over that, then I'll move on up.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Anybody else like to talk to the print? Okay. Back to you, Amber.
Well, I think that the placement is quite obvious. We have to remember that this is the creative category, and so mixed media is to be celebrated here, and this is a story between this woman's head and her heart, and of self-acceptance. So I think that the message is placed in the perfect place, and the blurry elements at the top part of the image are also really important to the story of the whole narrative of this piece. Please come up to 85.
Thank you, Amber. Let's rescore the print. Sitting on 80. And we moved it up to an 83 score. It's a nice silver. Thank you, judges. Accept that. And next print, please. There is no title on this image. It scores bronze at 78. There is possibility of a challenge there. And
Sure, I will take the challenge.
Yep,
Why not?
Amber again is happy to
Okay,
take
so
that on.
I was on 83 at a silver. I think that this is a remarkable piece that shows something that is grotesque and equally beautiful at the same time. I have no idea what the subject matter is, but compositionally it's really quite beautiful. It's evocative of many things, which you can just let your imagination run wild, really. But the contrast between the beautiful and the grotesque is quite remarkable.
Thanks, Amber. Maybe Catherine, would like to respond, please?
I gave this 74, and I'm still a bit confused. I'm not really seeing the beauty in it. I think it's been beautifully printed, and the oval is cool. And it's not that I have an aversion to awarding grotesque images. It's just I just don't really understand this. I don't get what I'm looking at, and compositionally, it's not really speaking to me. So I would just need to hear a little bit more, something.
Thanks, Catherine. I think we're all done, so it's back to you, Amber. I'm afraid you haven't got much support
Okay,
there.
well, I'll just tell you a couple of the things that I'm seeing in there. I see pieces of gold, pieces of melting gold up the top, and I also see a bottom. So I don't know if anyone else sees the bottom, but yeah, I think it's a really interesting piece of artwork.
Okay. We score it, judges, please. It's sitting on 78. Please don't give me a 79. Make your mind up time. And you did make your mind up. It's a 78. It's a strong bronze, and congratulations to the photographer. Set that. And we'll have the next print, please. Thank you. This is an in-camera multiple exposure. It's an initial score of 82. Now there are two people that are in a different range. Do we have any hands coming up? Yes, Catherine, can you take it away, please?
I gave this an 85, and I would love to see it in the distinction range. As an in-camera multiple exposure, this is really very, very beautiful. It's beautifully composed, obviously a gorgeous flow. What I really enjoy about it, and that's pushed it into the distinction range for me, is the little white edge on a lot of the curves, which to me makes it look almost like layered paper, and it gives it a fantastic new dimensionality, which I think is really a strong achievement for an in-camera image. The tones are beautiful, composition, the presentation. Yeah, let's see what we can do and get it into distinction.
Thanks, Catherine. Amber, let's come to you next.
I don't want to say anything to bring this image down.
No, that's okay, but you just need to tell us what your score was anyway.
Okay, my score. I was a high bronze at 77. I think I just felt that the shape of the image is something that I've seen so many times before, but I do really appreciate the cleverness of the multiple exposure in that way, and that was why I awarded it a bronze.
Great, thank you. Janine?
Oh, it's not me.
I thought there was a lot of finesse to this image, given that it is in camera. I also really appreciated the real yellow focal point that looks like an iris, no pun intended there. It certainly gave me a place to go with it.
Did you tell us what your score was,
I
Janine?
was an 85 too.
Right, thank you. Okay, so I guess we're back to Catherine, I think, to sum it up, please.
Yeah, I agree with Amber that this is a shape that we've seen before, and that is what makes me feel excited about taking it into distinction, because it has been treated in a way that we haven't seen, and I feel this photographer has really elevated it, and that magnificent layering is just kind of glorious.
Thank you, judges. Put your scores in, sitting on 82. Some lovely debate there. It's gone up to an 85 silver distinction. So that's a good effort. Thank you, judges. We'll accept that. And next image, please. There is no title given for this print. Print scores 77 bronze with an elected from Chris. Thank you.
When this showed up, I saw dancers. Then I saw insects. Then I saw plants. Then I saw satellites. Then I saw paper straws with stripes in them. There's so many ways you can interpret this. And then I gave up interpreting it and just let myself feel it. Often we look at these images and we go, why did they choose to present two? Why not one? And I think both of these need each other to balance. They both have a sense of texture, but not everywhere. They have a sense of color balance when they're put together. The color palette is wonderful. The kind of opposite corners for those two satellite dragonfly plant dancer things, I feel like they play off each other beautifully. This deserves to be giant on the wall. And I'm on 83. And I'd love to see this come up to silver, so let's have a conversation.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go to, let's say, Janine. There's a few on that sort of score, but Janine, maybe would you like to pass a comment?
Yes, I scored this image 75. I was really enjoying the kind of mark making going on, especially with those pink stripes. I could have just about done the image without the fluffy things that look like fishing flies. But yeah, I'd like to just hear more about those objects, the fishing flies.
Thank you, Janine. Who else have we got? Catherine, did you put your hand up there? That was not a hand up, that was a...
I was scratching my
Scratch
nose, but
nose.
that's fine.
Don't scratch your nose when I'm looking.
I gave this 78, and Chris, yeah, thank you for your commentary. I'm going to come up into silver for you. I can't explain fishing flies, but I don't think we need to. This is a lovely little piece of art with some glorious lines that are taking you up and down, and then the relationship between those two objects, you know, they're really perfectly balanced there. And I think the image has been really well presented to us in the printing and the matting as well. Yeah, I'm enjoying it more the longer I look at it, so happy in coming to silver.
Thank you, Catherine. I think it's back. Looks like it's back to you, Chris, to sum it up. Take it away.
Okay, so the two figures, to me, the one on the left feels masculine and the one on the right feels feminine. And I'm going to go back to the thing I said first about them being dancers. There's a movement around this that is lovely. I actually love that the masculine one is almost exiting the frame, like that little straw is leading our eyes out, so it introduces more movement. So to me, that's why they're important. Otherwise, it would just be an abstract image. Now it's got movement and intention and emotion. Sounds like we've got a little bit of support. Love a little more support up in silver.
Thanks, guys. Stick your scores in, please.
Chris, can you read into your score?
Oh, yeah. And you did it. You brought it up to a silver at 80. Well done, guys. Are you okay? Just have a blank screen just for a second, please.
Blank screen.
Janine, would you like to take a break? Thank you for your judging. And we'll get the lovely Kay Davis come to the judging panel, please. I haven't accepted that one yet. Next print, please. This print has a title, acoustic wax treatment. Have I said that right? Encaustic wax treatment. Pretty even scoring there. We have an 81 silver. Take a comment, please. Yep, Dan, please go.
For me, I love the three-dimensional quality of the image. At first, when I approached it, it looked flat, but as soon as I got there, it started to move, and you go backwards and forwards. It plays tricks with your eyes, and I love the I don't know how to explain it, but the rough edges of the image, it just fits it perfectly. It's a very strong picture, and I think we need to give this a little bit of a push. Nice, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. It's always nice for the comment to be something that the photographer could improve on, maybe to take it up into another level, if you like. So that's a great comment. Thank you so much. Next print, please. Hi. There's no title on this print. Print scores 77, bronze, good bronze scoring range. Are we happy with that, judges? There is potential for... Well, Dan would like to have a little talk about it, I think. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Take it away.
Did you want to challenge it or?
This is a
This is a challenge, yeah.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge,
Yes,
thank
sorry.
you. Yeah.
This is a really interesting image, and it's been created with a mirrored image as we
Yeah.
know and feel. But more than that, it's got depth, and it's the background goes backwards and the foreground comes forward. And whenever you do and I've do quite a few of these images, you get these surprises where little marks suddenly sort of create a face and eyes, and it's just a wonderful piece of abstract art. I think we could have been more generous with it.
Dan, I don't know, did you say your score? I might have missed it.
Oh, sorry, 81.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, let's go to somebody else on the other end of the scale. Maybe Kay, would you like to give us your input, please?
Yeah, I scored at 73. I guess I'm struggling with the incongruity of the tones and colour palette of the subject, the central subject, and the background. Yes, it's a mirror image. I find there's a halo around the subject, that whether it's supposed to be there, whether it's helping it stand out, I'm not 100% sure, but I do find it a little bit distracting. But my main reason for scoring it as I did was because I felt there is that incongruity between the colour palette of the object and the background.
Yes, Amber.
I actually scored this as 77, but I am going to come up with you, Dan, because I have just realised that this is a landscape that has been turned around and mirrored to create a mythical being in the middle, and I now believe that this image is actually all about a people's connection to the land. So I think when you sit with it for a little longer, you can really start to read all sorts of things into it. What you were saying about the faces, I think, is really, the more that you look in there, the more layers of faces and figures and taniwha almost that you can find within that central image. It's really very clever.
Chris.
So I see those faces, and I think you said it, Dan. When you do a flip in a mirror like this, you get faces. That's what happens when you do this. So I think we've all. It's not something that's super new. I'm on 74, so I had this, top end of professional practice because I want something more than the faces. I want to see perhaps breaking that symmetry to give us something more, or something even more defined. I'm open to coming up, but I want to see more reason for me to do it.
Dan,
Well,
perhaps you'd like to...
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, enlighten.
And even more thank you to Amber. I think you've actually unearthed the treasure here, that it is an image that was turned sideways. And if you turn your head sideways, you really see something very interesting that's actually multiplied into something much more interesting. And I think we should really be much more generous, guys. I'm looking for, push it up into a good silver.
Thanks, Dan. Let's rescore it. Sitting on 77. Who hasn't entered? And it's gone up a notch to 78, which is still a pretty good bronze. Always just talking about, we'll accept that score. And the next print, please. There is no title on this print. Print scores a high standard at 73, and that is pretty well across the board. So thank you. We'll have to take a comment. Chris, thank you for doing that.
So I was right on 73. I really like the serenity of this image. It makes me want to be in this place. So I think it's a good application of the technique. Probably what held me from going higher is right along the top. On the top left, there's a gray crisp element, and towards the top right, it feels like it's heavy and a little bit banded. If we'd cropped just a little bit off the top, I think it would have made it a stronger image.
Thanks, Chris. Next print, please. The print has no title. Print has scored 83. There is a potential challenge. Okay.
I scored the image 86 because there's a really powerful story being told here in quite an interesting way. I'm interpreting this image as someone looking at transgendering in terms of changing genders. You see elements in the background of feminine girl, male, boys. And then the cleverness here, to me, is that the window frames, the light, is creating a shadow across each of the key elements of what identifies us as male or female. And that's where I see the really cleverness of the whole thing. So it's about a person who is wanting to come out. You see the lightness and everything like this, but they're also, at the same time, they're hiding who they really are. So I think this is an incredible piece of narrative done in a beautiful way.
Thank you, Kay. Chris, can we hear from you, please?
Up on 77, those shadows covering the eyes and important parts, you've won me over. Nothing to say.
Thank you. Anybody? Dan, would you like to comment?
This is an incredible image. I looked at it, and the depth of feeling that it evokes is wonderful. It could be just somebody's room, but it's the late light in the afternoon that, as Kay pointed out, hiding various areas of the body. I didn't see it as a gender changing process. I saw it as somebody who was not wanted and feeling unloved. And something else that I noticed is the way it's framed, with the depth of the mat is just beautiful. It's a great picture. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go back to Kay to sum up, please.
Yeah, there's so much to see in this image around, I guess, the life up to this point that this person has lived. You see the male elements, the skateboards, you see the dolls, you see all these things that are hinged to this, and the underpants the person has on. They are a very, very feminine object. And yet the rest of the body is that male. So yeah, I'm not sure I need to say any more. Thank you, Chris. I'm pleased you're coming up. I'm hoping that someone else will too. I'm on 86.
Thank you, Kay. Let's rescore. See how it goes. Sitting on 83. And we have a silver distinction at 85. Well done, that author. And we'll accept that score. And next print, please. Sorry, did I say next print, please? Yeah. Title on this is In-Camera Single Capture. What have we got here? We've got a silver, at least at 80, and we do have an elective challenge, and Catherine's going to take that up, so that's cool. What did you score, Catherine?
I gave this an 87. I am quite influenced by the title, I guess, because I was already thinking that this is an amazing image, and then to hear that this has been achieved in camera, it's so sketch-like, yet so three-dimensional, and I feel like this is really, really original work that's been beautifully presented. So, yeah, I'm on 87. I'd like to hear some other opinions.
Let's go to 87. Let's go to Kay, I think, please.
I scored the 74. I guess I was struggling. I mean, I see a lovely three-dimensional aspect to it, particularly in that, I guess, that central foreground at the bottom. But I guess I see some tones in the image which could easily have been controlled in post-production, even though it is a single capture. But in post-production, that would actually enhance it. But to me, they are not. It's not refined. It's not resolved. So I'm listening, but at the moment, yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, Dan?
So
Sorry, Chris, not Dan.
Sorry, I was right in the middle on 81. Again, because it's in camera, it feels like a sketch. Like, that's wonderful. Those lines, the contrast of those black lines, and the way that there's a reflection sometimes between what I presume are reflective surfaces feels like kind of pencil marks that are stray. The reason I didn't go higher than 81 is I feel like there's some pixelation in some of the lines on the structure just to the left of the right-hand edge. Some of the lines that are further in the distance, it feels like there's pixelation, and maybe that's because this is a crop of another part of an image. That's the only thing that kept me from going higher.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, I think that we might be back to Catherine again. Sum up, please.
I do see what you mean about the pixelation, and I can't explain it, but it doesn't bother me. I didn't notice it the first time. This looks like a computery kind of sketch, it kind of fits with the vibe of the thing anyway. I do, with the tones, I'm not really understanding what you mean by unresolved there, Kay. I think we've got a lot of dimensionality, but at the same time there's some quite flat surfaces. Like, there's that particular curve that goes up that is almost exactly the same tone throughout, and that makes that one particular one to me looks animated, and then a lot of the rest of it looks real, dimensional. So I'm really enjoying that, the dissonance between the flat areas that are kind of almost cartoony and then the more modelled areas. I'm finding it a really intriguing and original image, and I'd love to give it some more points.
Thank you, Catherine. Let's rescore it, please. It's gone up to an 82 silver. So gained a couple of points there, which is good news. So we'll accept that. And next print, please. I'll do it next time. Is that all right? Yeah. Okay. There's no title for this print. Print scores an average of 80 silver, but we do have a potential challenge there. Catherine, actually.
A bit boring here, aren't I? I gave this an 86. This is so intriguing and so rich, beautifully presented, printed, so that there's this incredible depth to it and the texture of the sand, and then it's just got this otherworldly feel about it. I feel like there's mountains and stuff, and then that darker area in the middle with what sort of a suggestion of a band. It sort of makes me think of sun flares and stuff, and then the top, which I think is probably sand, but it feels like cloud patterns almost, and then you've got these really strong little stones plopped in there, so it's confusing, it's rich, it just makes me want to dive in there, and I think it's really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. Let's hear from Amber, please.
Thank you, Catherine. I was down on 74 in professional standard. I think I'm just searching for something within the image to fall in love with, and I really can't find it. I'm listening, but I'm struggling.
Thank you, Amber. Looks as if you might be back on it. No, Dan is going to say a few words.
This is a very, very strong image in my mind. What we've got here is, it almost looks like a drone shot in one way, and it almost looks like a nest in another way. There's me trying to put my own physical feelings on it, but it's ethereal in the nicest possible way, and there's a warmth to it, beautifully printed. I think we should go up.
Can you just give us your score, Dan, please?
My score was 82.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, I think it is now perhaps time to go back to Catherine.
I think ethereal is a great word to describe this. It really is otherworldly. It's kind of elements that we know, but it's created this other beautiful world. Amber, I'm not really sure how to respond. You know, you're saying you want to find something to love about it. I think that we're just coming down to a difference of opinion. I think there's a lot to love about this. I would hang this on my wall. I think it's visually very, very appealing, strong and intriguing. So I'd love you guys to come up.
Thank you, guys. Just rescore, please. Actually, that was very good commentary, because that's now a silver distinction at 85. So that's a great outcome for that photographer. Now, can I have a blank screen, please? Catherine, thank you so much for your wonderful judging. And we'll have Jackie Rankin back on the panel, please. Oh, there you are. And Amber, thank you for your judging as well. And we'll have Angela Eastwood on the panel, please. Thank you. Next print, please. There is no title to this print. Yeah, we'll take some scores, please, judges. Just running behind a tad at the moment, so. Just waiting for the final scores. What have we got to come? So Jackie. That's, all good at 80. We have a silver at 80. And that is, we'll accept that and we'll get a comment, please. Okay. Kay would like to make a comment, please.
Yeah, a really delightful image with, I guess, an interpretation of the landscape where you're seeing the beautiful, almost like beautiful folds of fabric coming through. I think with the paper, I almost want to see the framing come right into the image because I feel the border, the silver greyness of the border is conflicting with the warmth and tones that I'm seeing within the image.
Thank you, Kay. Sorry? Yep, accept that. And next print, please. I've already done it. Good. Cancel that. This print has a caption, in-camera multi-exposure. So we can leave. Print scores 74, high professional standard. Very even scoring there. We'll take a comment, please. No one's putting their hand up, so I'm going to pick. Yeah, Dan, please.
A multiple exposure that has created 3 dimensions. It's really a great skill. I would say that if the photographer could get a little more or lack of grain in the picture and a lack of definition in the picture, it would actually be much more successful.
Thank you, Dan. Can we have a blank screen, please? Jackie, could you step off, please? And Mandarin Montgomery, could she step up, please? I haven't accepted that, have I? So just need to. And we'll have the next print, please. This has a caption, photo encaustic wax treatment. Print scores 80 silver, and that's a pretty consistent score. Well done. Let's take a comment, please. Dan again. Yep, thank you.
Congratulations to the photographer. I think they've created an image with great depth, warmth and feeling, and mystery and magic. I think it's a really lovely picture. Well done.
Thanks, Dan. And we'll have the next print, please. This one has got a title, In-Camera Capture Through Plastic. Need some scores soon, please, judges. Pretty even scoring there. That's an 80, majority is 3. Well done. And we'll take a comment, please. Okay, thank you.
Very brave colouring used through the image, which I think works incredibly well. What I'm questioning for myself is whether you actually need the 6 images, whether you could actually remove the bottom 2 and just, I think the story in the top 4 is enough for us to leave our imagination for what else is hidden in there.
Thank you, Kay. Next print, please. This print also has a caption, in-camera landscape. Okay, what have we got here? We've got a score of 80, and that is, again, averaged out of a few judges there. So we'll accept that, and we'll take a comment, please. Yes, please, Chris.
As an in-camera piece, the amount of control it takes to get the color tones that we've got and that texture overlaid is spectacular. Like I'd love to have watched the person make this. I think that would be great. I'm especially entranced by the bottom left-hand corner because it teased me and it said, "This will tell you how it was done." And I got up closer and it went, "No, it won't after all." It's a great piece of art. Well done.
Good comment. Thanks, Chris. And we'll have the next print, please. There is no title for this print. Okay, you've got an initial score of 78, although there is a possible challenge there. Okay.
I scored at 74. Oh, sorry, 84, I should say. I just found it really intriguing that they've used this wheel, the one where you drop your balls or whatever it is into the thing and they go through the, I'm not sure what they're called. But it's just an absolutely novel or unique way of presenting that subject. And I think it actually creates a beautiful piece of art. And it's been handled, the tonal range has been handled really well. Great mix of blacks and whites and all the tones in between.
Thank you, Kate. Chris, for coming your way.
So I assume this is one of those ones where you flip it upside down, the liquid goes blah, 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 blah. Like, this reminded me of what an amusement park looks like at night when no one is there and it's switched off. And I was on 71, and I feel like there's motion that could have been captured in this, and it looks still to me. It looks like it's in that dormant phase, and you're about to flip it over, and then there will be motion and movement and stuff. Maybe that's the attraction, is that it's the still version. I need you to sell it to me, Kay.
Do we have any other support there? Possibly not, Kay.
Might be on my own, but it's worth a try. There is definite movement in there. All those bubbles, this thing's been immersed, whether it's been thrown out and tossed into the ocean, tossed into a river, whatever it might be. But there's the bubbles and everything that are coming up. What initially appealed to me when I first saw the image was how it is at the bottom part of the frame, just those little bubbles creeping up, and then I was rewarded by more and more as I went up. And that's the movement. That's there's no story to it as such, but it's a purely visual aesthetic, which is incredibly unique.
Thank you, Kay. Let's rescore the print, please. Sitting on 78. And you've got a silver out of that now, so that's pretty good progress, isn't it? Well done, that author. Sorry? I did, 80. Sorry? Oh, silver 80. Did I not say that? I very remiss. Silver 80. And we'll have the next print, please. This print has no title. Yeah, an initial score of 84, but there's going to definitely be some debate here, and it's going to come from Mandarin.
I'm really grateful we can talk about this image. We've all seen multiple aerial images of this genre. It is so beautifully presented to us from the paper choice that if you go up close, it just makes the image pop and shimmer. When it first turned around, it almost looks like a tree with thousands of birds fleeing the tree off into the distance, or is it, flames coming off the tree? There are so many interpretations you can read into this, and then when you go up you see all the little veins from the little creeks and all the detail in it, which is exquisitely represented. So I'd love to chat about this. I gave it 92.
Thank you, Mandarin. Let's go to Chris, please.
Okay, I'm on 82, so a couple points behind you. I agree about the tree, and I love the explanation about the birds flying away from the tree. The reason that I gave it 82 was because of the print. Like, that paper is magnificent, and I especially love the way that sparkle is the most prominent on the blue sections. So it makes it feel like there's sunlight glinting off of the water. And I can't perceive that sparkle in the other sections. So it's a little bit magical the way that it's limited to the water parts. That's what pushed me into 82. What it's going to take to make me go higher is we see a lot of aerials now. We're presented with lots of them, so I want to see more. I want to see something that differentiates this further, and I've already it's in silver because of that print technique. I'm loving the explanation of the birds flying away from the tree. That's probably going to get me up to silver with distinction, which is a good start.
It is. Who else have we got? Dan, next.
I scored it 78, the other end of the scale somewhat. I see it as flat, I'm afraid, and falling into the trap of seeing an aero shot and it's looking down at a plan. The one thing that did actually intrigue me was the water, the way the water looks so much stronger than the rest of the picture. The rest of the picture is, well, as Mandarin ably described, very nice and bird-like and trees. No, I'm still holding down the bottom, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Dan. Let's go down to Kay. Sorry. Amber first, then Kay. Sorry? Angela, I'm sorry. I need new glasses.
I scored this 86. I'm up there as well. I really, really enjoyed this. At first, when it first came around, I felt like it did look flat, but it's an image that actually comes alive the closer you get to it. The details and the leaves of the tree and the sparkling water, it's just quite magical. And I definitely think it's deserving of at least a silver distinction.
Thank you, Angela. Kay?
The bottom half, the blue of the image is absolutely delightful. There's this beautiful silkiness that you're looking at from a distance, and then that amazing luminescence glimmering water as you go up to it. What I'm also seeing in the image is seasons. I'm seeing 4 seasons in the image. The blue represents the summer when we love being at the beach. The white is reminiscent of the snow. There are tiny weeny little areas of green there towards what we are, I guess, interpreting as a tree, right in the middle, which means that sense of growth and spring coming through. And then those beautiful tones of autumn. The detail in that upper half really, really complements the silkiness and satinness of the blue in the background. I scored at 84. I will be coming up.
Thank you. I think we've all had a bit of a say there, so it's back to you, Mandarin, please.
Talking about aerial images that we've all seen so many is really cool because of the different interpretations and the way you can see all sorts of different things within something that is literally water, and land, which is what this is. The comments from the other judges are pretty amazing. I love Kay's interpretation of what she's seeing. To address some of the things that Chris and some of the others have suggested, yeah, it's beautiful shimmering down the bottom, and that is the paper's obviously transposing that really well with those colours. I don't think that is something to bring it below, well, in my opinion, gold, but certainly to raise a few more points on what it is. To me, it sort of almost seems like a life forming. So we've got the blue down the bottom, and then it's poking up into that tree trunk, which is green, which sort of represents life, and then popping out the top. If you look in the top, in the centre, right above that so-called branch, that's the river, it reminds me actually of a heart, and all the red shimmery bits around it, it's like it's exploding with life. And so from an allegorical point of view, I think it is just such a beautiful representation of life and land, and where you can take your imagery. So I think it's beautiful at 92 as a gold, and I'd love to see a few extra points from everyone.
Thank you,
if
Mandarin.
you see fit.
Let's re-enter the scores. Oh, well, we've got some decision making here. We've come up with an 89, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to put it into review, and you guys know what to do. It'll be an 89 or a 90. Is that? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong box. And it did it. It's a 90. Well done. So that little box hasn't come up very often. So it's sitting there and I completely missed it. So that's excellent. That's really good. Let's accept that and move on to the next print. Thank you, judges. I guess we ought to, eh? Let's get down a bit. We're getting a bit, tired. Sorry. Another cliffhanger there at 79. So luckily we've got a challenge we can take from Dan.
Right. Well, I don't see a tree in this one. Sorry. What I see here is a nice square with lots of other squares in it, but it's the three-dimensionality of the trickery with in each of the individual squares. That's what really appeals to me. And it keeps on flashing at you. It's a little bit of kinetic art, if you like, for the eyes.
Thank you.
82. Oh, 82 I scored.
Okay. Maybe Kay. Kay, you'd like to have a chat, please?
I found this a really strong image. When I'm sitting back here, I'm loving the colour palette that's working within it. To me, it's like a patchwork quilt. When I got up to there, I found the images all very, very soft, where in some ways I wanted to see detail. I wanted to see the intricacy of how that patchwork quilt is created. And so I did feel a little bit let down from that. And possibly even that some of the placement of the elements could be switched around a little bit just to create a more dynamic image. I am listening. I'm sitting on 78.
Thank you, Kay. Mandarin, you were in support there as well?
Yeah, I think this is a cool image. I was on 81. I applaud the photographer's presentation as well. I think that's quite clever without the map board around it. I was just struggling a bit, I guess, with trying to figure out if there was something I was supposed to focus on, but perhaps that's not the issue. It's about, you know, looking at a different sort of kaleidoscope vision, and it's therefore something that I think you need to sit with for a lot longer to gain what you need to out of it.
Thank you, Mandarin. I think we might come back to Dan. Summing up, please.
Nice, thank you, Mandarin. There's a kaleidoscope there, and it's the relaxing of the eye and looking at the centre, and you get this movement, and it's very relaxing. It'd be nice on a wall, but if you were wanting to go to sleep, this would actually put you to sleep. Right? But no, I appeal to your senses to come up a little bit, please.
Thank you, Dan. It's 3 score at judges, please. Good decision making. It's now silver at 80. The author can we have a blank screen, please? Dan, would you like to take a break? And Catherine, would you like to step on? Catherine Katanak? Thank you. Next print, please. No, this print has no caption. Yeah, we have an average bronze at 77. That's an average, the average along the row of judges there. Let's take a comment, please. Okay, Chris, thank you.
I really appreciate that the double exposure here highlights both environments that this bird lives in. So maybe, you know, the ocean and the sky, and then maybe a cliff face where nests are. And I love the one at the top that's yelling at the viewer. It took me a long time to see it, and when I did, jumped out. So I think it's a great job. Well done.
Thank you, Chris. Next print, please. This one has a title, In Camera Multiple Exposure. Print scores 78 bronze. Are we happy with that, guys? There's potential for a challenge there, but I think we're We're pretty happy with it, aren't we? So let's take a comment, please, an encouraging comment, something with a bit of description on how this author could perhaps put it into a higher score range. Kay, thank you.
A very clever image that's been, I guess, well imagined in terms of what they're actually creating, and you're actually surprised when you go up by the fact that it's a shopping mall of some sort, and they've created this really interesting figure out of it. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure how it could be improved, but I did find it a really interesting and intriguing image.
Thank you, Kay. Next print, please. Print's got an average score of 78. Potential challenge from Kay.
I scored this 83. I thought it was a beautiful it's an object that has been collected and placed in a frame as something that is incredibly precious. And I really love the beautiful layering and the texturing that's happening within the actual central part of the image. Something that I sort of have picked up on is the bottom frame sort of tends to fall off on the right-hand side at the bottom. So maybe bringing that up a little bit to make it more horizontal. But this has just been so delicately handled. Colour palette is really lovely.
Thank you, Kay. Can we hear from Catherine, please?
I gave this a 73. I agree, it is very beautiful. I guess I wasn't really getting a narrative that would help me take it up, and I was a little bit distracted by the softness of the coat hanger, and I know that that's not where the photographer wants me to look, but I felt that I was seeing post-production there to blur that away, and it didn't really make sense with the crispness of the detail on the dress. Also find the heaviness of the bottom left of the frame, the shadow there, a little distracting. And agree, Kay, about the darkness of the frame at the right. I am going to come up, though. I do think I've been mean, and I appreciate your story about this being a really treasured object that's been framed, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else going to make a comment? Otherwise, we'll go back to Kay. Does it sum up, please, Kay?
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add. There are some things in there that I don't feel help the image, probably largely those shadows on the left-hand bottom side. I felt it would give a lot more etherealness and delicateness to it if they weren't quite so heavy. But I just think this is a memories, family, history, ancestry, all of those things, which and it tells a beautiful story.
Thank you, Kay. Judges, let's rescore it. It's sitting on 78. And it's got up to a silver at 80. Good debate. Thank you, judges. We will accept that score, and we'll have the next print, please. I'm just going to take a short break and Tracy Kennedy will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 75, which is a bronze award. We'll accept that. Does somebody have a comment for our photographer, please? Chris, thank you.
So there's a beautiful graphic quality to this, the repetition of the stamps and the texture that's behind it with, you know, the double exposure type technique. I'm sort of left with the question of why? Why is it I think it's clouds that have been flipped. Why is there a red cast on it? There's a story being told and there's not quite enough information to hold our hands and tell us what it is. So clarifying that would help to elevate this image.
Thank you. Next image, please. There's no title for this, judges.
And we have an initial score of 84, silver award. And I knew Grace App was going to go straight up there. Take it away.
96. This has got so much impact for me. I didn't even realise at first that there were actually two people or a mirroring happening here. I just see, like, I don't know, a demon or a ghost face or something in this design. And then you come in and you look closer and you see it is two people. And the stripes kind of give me like clown, harlequin. And then I'm like, oh, clowns and harlequins are pretty bloody evil. And we've got this evil demonic ghost face in this pattern as well. So I think it's really clever, really creative. The print is stunning. And I would love to talk about it. And probably out on the middle if we can get a few more points here. Very nice.
Okay, thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 80, which is a silver award. Mandarin, you have got challenge.
I think this is a really intriguing image, especially for those of us, which is probably most of us, who can see faces in clouds. And what's that called again? Pareidolia, perhaps. When I first looked at the image, when it turned around, beautiful, cool tones. I'm really applauding the use of 5 images, 5 square images. So visually it looks very cool. When you go up, the first image looks like a little face coming up through a vortex of clouds, like it's quite ethereal. The last image is quite sort of sinister looking, and then if you look through them you can see all these, there's a flower or seems to be like a flower in the second one. So is that intentional or accidental? If it's intentional, absolutely brilliant, and I've given it 85, hoping that is part of what the photographer is trying to tell us.
Okay, Angela, you have the other side.
Yes, I can see the faces now. Thanks for pointing that out. And I appreciate the graphic quality of the artwork as well. The thing that kind of distracted me a little bit was that the image on the far right is slightly warmer than everything else, so it kind of keeps drawing my eye that way a little bit, and perhaps they could have edited out and maybe not had all 5 in there. I think the ones with the faces are really beautiful. I'm listening though.
Okay, we're hearing from Chris.
Okay, so I'm right in the middle on 81. I find image 2 and 5 to be a little warmer, 1 and 4 to be a little cooler, and the one in the middle to be balanced, so I'm good with that. I didn't see the faces initially. I'm just enjoying it as a piece of abstract art. And part of me wants to know, hey, was this, was a tree, like that we did a long exposure? It doesn't matter. What stopped me from going higher is there is a cool sense to most of this, and then that white reveal, or I should say unprinted reveal on the metallic paper feels cool, and the matte feels warm, and it doesn't quite gel. It's not as cohesive as it could be. I wonder if this had been presented as 5 separate images with no reveal in 5 separate windows, if that would have been stronger. But I've still had it on 81, so I'm still in support of it in silver.
Okay, anybody else? Right, back to you. Okay, sorry.
Oh, just very quickly. I saw some beautiful details in a few of the images, which I felt were lacking in some of the other images. And to me, I definitely got that whole vortex thing as soon as I saw each of those elements. But yeah, I guess I'm a little bit questioning as to why, yeah.
Okay, now back to you, Andrew.
One thing I did forget to mention when I first spoke was the extra bit of the story that I saw was in that 4th image down the bottom, which I think is trees. It actually looks like hands. So with the first image looking like, a face going up into some vortex, it sort of has, a really interesting story if you can see the quality in that. With regards to the paper choice and the back, the mount board and the grey feel, I do agree with what Chris said. I think if the photographer perhaps took that on board, that would actually elevate the visual of the image. I'm not sure if perhaps having 1 less or 2 less images would work. I actually really enjoy all 5. The fact that we've got, the last one's a little bit warmer, the second one, the first and fourth are cooler, the middle one is sort of in the middle. That to me, it doesn't put me off. It just adds to the somewhat randomness of it that creates all these elements that create this story. I'm very comfortable sitting on silver distinction at 85, and I'd love to see a few extra points if the judges feel it appropriate.
Please rescore. Okay, congratulations. We've gone up to 83, which is still silver. Thank you very much. All right, next image, please. And we're back to our regular scheduled panel chair.
There's no title on this image. Well, guys, straight to silver distinction at 87. And we're going to accept that because you're all on the same sort of keel there. So we still need to have a comment about how that could have been even higher. So, Chris, you seem to be putting a hand up there.
Oh, only because I want to say how gorgeous this is. It's like, what planet is this on? Is this our planet? This is fire. I the thing that super sold it for me is it looks like there's a little white figure sitting almost in like a treehouse of fire, which is Lucifer to me. So this is the, you know, there's a pareidolia or whatever. There's this person in there. We've all loved this. I don't know what I could say to bring it up, actually. I think it's fantastic, so congratulations.
Thank you. Chris, can I have a blank screen, please? And Chris, you've done a wonderful job, but it's time for a break, and it's time for the wonderful Dan to come back. And with that, we'll have the next print, please. Let's have a look. Yep, we've got a unanimous 77 bronze there. Thank you, judges. Let's take a comment, please. Who's have we got? Mandarin. Would be wonderful. Thank you.
I'm going to guess the photographer had a ball creating this image because light painting is so much fun. I applaud the tonality and all the details, but I feel that if you cropped the top off from that section, which is not really adding anything to the image, that would really improve it. Alternatively, use a separate light source, maybe your car headlights, to actually put some light and detail into that top.
Thank you, Mandarin. And next print, please. Oh, thank you. Who have we got on? Oh, that's good. This one has a title, Photo Encaustic Wax Treatment. Thank you. Photo Encaustic Wax Treatment. I think I'm saying it right. Encaustic. Okay, we've got an initial score of 82 with a challenge. Everybody wants it. Okay. Well, no, we'll go to probably the person that's got the highest score, which is Mandarin at the moment.
We've all seen lots of images of
Score,
tree.
please, Mandarin.
87.
Thank
sorry. Silver distinction. And so many images of trees and so many images of texture overlays. This is an example of the perfect combination of an art piece created by a beautiful still image of trees in a forest, using encaustic to actually create a work of art. The photographer is very crafty in the way that they have used the warmth of the main trunk of that main tree to focus on that. That is the focal point, and then that beautiful soft sage green in the background of all the other elements that draws our attention back to that main element. It's a beautiful image, so I'd love to hear from the others.
Thank you, Mandarin. Let's hear from Catherine next, please.
I gave this 78, and I agree it is a very beautiful image, and that the encaustic wax treatment really suits this subject. The thing that was stopping me from coming into silver was that I didn't feel convinced that the underlying image was compositionally as strong as it could have been. I feel there's really quite a jumble of the branches and the lines there, particularly the two main branches coming in from the left that are sort of creating a little bit of chaos. Maybe that's the environment there, but I felt that the compositional lines of the underlying image, if they'd been stronger, that would have helped more. But I agree, the treatment is just beautiful in this image.
I scored the image 86. Catherine, I'm not too bothered by it. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. That sounds negative. I actually really enjoy the overall image. I'm looking at it as a whole with the treatment that's been applied, not just as something, an underlying image that you may feel isn't quite compositionally, right. I see it as, I actually really enjoy the image itself. The treatment then enhances that even more. There's a depth to the image which has been created through the encaustic work, and the delicateness and the strength that is coming through. There's all these conflicts with tone and detail and loss of detail that is really, really, it just seems so beautiful in the image that we're presented with. The only thing that's probably a little bit distracting for me, but I'm forgiving that because I think it overall is a beautiful image that could have been maybe worked as the two little branches, not branches, but leaves on the right-hand side, which are a little bit light. I'm very, very happy scoring it in the silver distinction range.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I'm hearing what you're saying too. Oh, my score is 77. I'm right down there. What I like about the picture, to start with, is that it has an atmosphere, and that atmosphere is not just the quality of the whatever it's called, the wax treatment, but it's the light that it's created. And the one thing that puts me towards away from it is that the tree is not, the main tree is just not centered. It's jarring me a little bit. And I find that and I can even look at it now and I can see two eyes coming in the back there, either side of the main trunk, halfway towards the top of the picture. And there's a lot of other images in there, but it's just that off-center. If it was in the center, I'd be right up there.
Thank you, Dan. Are there any other supporting? I think we'll come back to Mandarin then, please, for summing it up.
These are all fantastic comments. I do agree with Kay. Those little leaves on the lower right could have been toned down a bit. As far as what the other judges suggested about having the tree more central, you could potentially do that. Normally I'm very compositionally biased. I like my rules of thirds or something central. But I think in this, Catherine put it really perfectly. It looks chaotic. That's because that's what a forest is. The trees aren't all lined up. They are chaotic. It is a bit all over the place. So I think this represents it perfectly. And the fact that it's just off centre, you've got that tree on the lower left pointing up into that main tree, and then the little branch on the right sort of curving up, and you curve up and out, and then stopped by that further tree on the right. So you sort of whiz around and you're not sure where to look, but that's what a forest is. And also one final thing, I really applaud the photographer in very confidently and intently using certain brush strokes in certain areas of the image to absolutely add to the whole effect. So silver distinction is I'm very happy with, and love to see what happens.
Thank you, Mandarin. Let's see what happens. That was a great job. It's an 85 silver distinction. Thank you, judges. We'll have the next print, please. This next print has not got a title. Sorry, guys. Let's see. We have a 74 here, and that's pretty unanimous. So we'll just take a comment, please. Catherine, please.
I think the photographer's made a great choice here with the glossy paper to add interest to this image. I feel like it's being a bit let down by the big open space at the bottom. It might be that it just gives us a little bit too much context, so we can just see it as a flipped mountain, and so it ends up feeling a little bit technique-driven to me.
Thank you, Catherine. And accept that score. Can we have a blank screen, please? A little bit of a judge change here. Catherine, thank you for all your hard work on the judging panel. And we'll take Jackie back, please. And Kay, thank you for yours as well. And we'll have Amber back, please. Okay, thank you for that. Angela wants a break. We could put... Oh, no, we can't put Rebecca on. You have to wait, yeah. Next print, please. This print does have a title, Image on Silk. Okay, we have a cliffhanger there at 79. So we've got Amber's got a challenge there. Amber, would you mind taking that on so we can sort this out?
Self-transformation. I scored this image an 83 because I believe that this is a beautiful artwork that embodies the message of the print just so perfectly.
Thank you. We'll go to Angela, please.
I scored this a 75. I can appreciate the use of materials and the message that they're trying to portray here. I just felt like the reflected image kind of dominated my eye a little bit and didn't really add to that story for me. So if you could explain how the outside reflected image adds to that, would help. The outside images that are reflected and how that adds to that story. I'm just a little bit confused on the messaging.
Dan, you up there as well, if you've got any comment to make.
It's a very strong message and a strong picture to go with it. and there's a feeling of being found and having been lost. Strong picture.
Okay, it's back to you, Amber, for summing up, please.
I think that the quiet part at the top of this image speaks to the woman's transformation that she has achieved, and the confusion and with the multiple exposure down the bottom is perhaps the confusing and difficult time that she may have come through. She's elevated herself up and out of it, and it's been presented in a very delicate and beautiful way. Very deserving of a silver.
Thank you, Amber. Let's rescore it, judges, please. It's sitting on 79, so we do need to make a decision. And it's scored a silver at 81, so well done, judges. We'll accept that score. Can we have a blank screen, please? And Angela, would you like to take a break? And can we bring Esther Bunning to the panel, please?
When I first saw it, I really wished it was an environmental portrait and we got to see more of this person's life around her. But as I sit here looking at it now,
Esther, your name is actually on the chart now, so you can score honours yourself. So next print, please. I beg your pardon, there is no title to this image. Prince has an initial score of 80, but there is a challenge in another range from Jackie.
Yeah, I scored this 85. The tapestry-like stitching sort of layer mountains have been, it's a very deliberate, intentful image. It's design orientated, it's not real, but it's kind of a sense of distance, foreground and distance, just with that one, with that one technique. The space at the top, just giving your eye the space that you need to be able to rest in this landscape, imaginary landscape.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's go to Dan, please.
I looked at this picture and straight away I understood that there was depth and mountains and hills, but it's to me it's just too simple or not complex enough. But it has a pastoral feel about it, which is very pleasing.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else like to comment? Esther.
I've given this an 82, and I'm going to come up to silver distinction. I think the layers of landscape within a landscape, and that just goes on and on and on. It gives it so much depth and beauty, and then you've got that beautiful negative space at the top, which just adds to what's happening underneath it. Beautifully crafted.
Anybody else? Sorry, Jackie, did you want to say something?
Yes, well said, beautifully crafted. You'll notice that the mountains all at the bottom are softly rounded, and as they go up in height, they get more lift to them. They're Mount Cook, and they're epic in the background. So there's a lot of intent and craft and skill and thought, and perfect colour balance. 85.
Thanks, Jackie. Let's rescore it. Good debate, 85, silver distinction. I accept that score. And next print, please. This has a title, In Camera Single Capture. Initial score of 79, and of course we need to debate that some, so we'll go to Esther. What's your score, Esther?
Now, I've given this a silver distinction on 87. The graphic qualities are absolutely beautiful, really strong and dynamic, and your eye travels around that inner half circular shape. And the only thing that really stopped me taking that higher was the fact that the leading yellow lines on the left-hand side actually do go out of focus, and you sort of feel like you want to see that clarity throughout the entire image. But I really do feel that it's worthy of that silver range.
Thank you, Esther. Jackie, at the other end of the scale?
I'm on 72, and it's because of that out of focus foreground that is right where your eye goes to as you come in, and it for me just let it down so much that I couldn't take it into a bronze even. That's about it. Sorry.
Thank you. Dan, you looked at me?
This is a piece of fine art, and a piece of it's.
Your score, Dan, please.
It's like Victor Vasarely.
Score, Dan.
My score is 85.
Thank you.
And I forgive the element on the left-hand side, because that to me is the edge, and it's going down. So the light has changed at that point. But there's depth that's been created here, and it jumps off the page, and it jumps into the page. It's just tremendous. It's a piece of optical art.
Back to you, Esther.
I'm awarding creativity in camera. It was a multiple exposure, I believe. So I would love to see that sitting in the silver range. I think it's worthy of that.
Thank you, judges. Can you rescore, please? Sitting on 79, we have to do something about that. And we certainly have. It's now an 80 silver. Well done. Thank you, judges. Next score, please. Next score. And then maybe, next score, please. Maybe I need some sort of a coffee or something. Just read out what's on the button. No. Okay, we have an average score here of 82, but a strong challenge from Esther. What did you score at, Esther?
Okay, I took this into gold. I've given it a 94. And it's when I got up close that I saw the abstraction of a landscape. It almost has an etching quality to it, which you travel around. It's like hills, it's like snow, and the paper choice, it's been beautifully printed, adds to that effect of snow as well. So I'm awarding the photographer with a gold. I feel that it sits up there.
Okay, at the other end of the scale, we've got Dan sitting there. What's your score, Dan?
Well, my score is 74.
Thank you.
I didn't see this picture at all. I see it as a bit of a mélange, a mixture. And it didn't do anything for me at all. But I'm listening to you, Esther.
Okay. Do we have anybody else that would like to comment here? Yep.
Well, I'm just
Yep, go
commenting because I'm in the middle range. I was on 80, and I agree that the paper choice definitely works for this image, and I also got snow vibes. But I think for me to bring it up to gold, I need something more. I need something to help me get up there. So, please.
Back to you, Esther.
I'm not sure that I can tell you what else needs to be brought to it, really, but I think it can be interpreted in so many different ways, and it's one of those images that you could live with as a piece of artwork, but also is so interpretive. So, yes, I'm comfortable with my gold. Let's see if we can take it a little higher.
Okay, judges, let's rescore, please. Sitting on 82. That's a very good reason for that, because I haven't pressed the little old button. Sorry. Okay, so Esther was the pop up very shortly. I think now you can. It's an 84. So it's good, strong silver. Well done. Next print, please. Oh, sorry, there is no more prints. That was the last one. We are onto our digital entry. How you doing, judges? All good? Not fading and reading out the wrong buttons, you know? All pretty good? Yeah, yeah. We have got some lollies on. Anybody want a lolly? Kay would like a lolly. Anybody else for lollies? Maybe you'd like to hand them round for us, Chris. Thank you. 37. Yeah, probably. We are, of course, judging the creative category, which is kindly sponsored by Nikon. Nikon has been long guided by its corporate philosophy of trustworthiness and creativity by providing products and solutions based on its core technologies, namely its optoelectronics and precise technologies. Nikon is perhaps most well known for its reputation as a world leader in imaging products, and its technologies continue to play a singular, significant role in defining the photographic industry. And I did have some other notes here I should have read out. Where are they? I thought there were things. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, good to go again. So let's get into it. We'll have the first image, please. Okay, this one has a title, Planning, Photographing, Lightroom, Photoshop. Planning, Photographing, Lightroom, Photoshop. Yes, definitely. Yep, we'll do that next, because Mandarin's been on. This image scores 78, and we do have a challenge from Amber. What is your score, Amber?
I scored this image an 85 because I can see two figures holding hands in the centre top third of the image, and it feels like one of them is quite angelic, lifting the other out of despair. Can I point so you guys can see it? You can see it? Okay. Okay, so this is the head of the top one.
This is most unusual, guys.
So purely for the genius of capturing that narrative within this composition, I feel this deserves a silver distinction.
Thank you, Amber. Let's hear from Jackie, please.
Yes, I scored at 74, and because I saw those figures, and then I went, well, if it's Photoshop and all those things that this photographer has brought to it, why the distractions of all the little light areas where perhaps it's sand here that's it's broken through, and not adding to that narrative. That was it, but you got me though. I'm coming up a bit.
Good. Anybody else in support? You haven't got a lot of help up there, but trying to squeeze something out of another judge, but Dan is going to rise to the occasion.
Well, I think the photographer deserves a little something for being able to create something out of nothing, and I think they've done a really interesting job there.
And
I scored 78, and I think I will come up to a silver. There is a three-dimensional quality which is quite appealing.
Thank you, Dan. So, Amber, let's wrap it up.
If there has been any compositing within this image, I can't see evidence of it. It doesn't bother me whether there has or hasn't been. It's a beautiful, beautiful abstract image with a very ethereal nature. It's quite celestial in a way. Let's reward it.
Thank you, Amber. Let's just do that and see where it goes. It's gone up to a silver at 81. Well done. And blank screen, please. Mandarin, you've done a great job. Take a break, please. And Rebecca Kempton, can you step up to the mark, please? Oh, and we've got more, but wait, there's more. Dan. Lovely job, thank you. And Chris. Keep your body nice and fresh. Real good. I haven't accepted the last one, so we'll do that. Can we have the next print, please? No title on this image. Okay, we have a bronze at 75, but we do have a challenge here from Rebecca, who would like to see it higher.
Yeah, hi. I put this in the silver range at 82. There's something going on here, and there is, for me, an emotive response to this image because of the expression of the woman. And there's a really interesting. It's been composed, so she has, the majority of her face in that kind of right-hand side. I don't know if it's to do with sort of brain and thoughts and how her mind works. There's also this kind of beautiful, delicate overlay of sort of a chiffony sort of texture, which just really sort of, for me, adds to that image. I mean, I just think it's worth talking about. I think I'm not exactly sure what the narrative is, but yeah, I'm just keen to have a chat about it, really.
Esther, you're down there at down the other end. Let me hear from you, please.
I am down the other end. I gave it a 72. Look, I really like what's happening in the left-hand side of the image, and I don't mind the fabric overlay at all. I feel that she needs to be completely centred because it is a story of two halves, and because her face isn't enough off-centre to make it sort of intentional. It sort of feels like, I don't want to be too negative, but it's. I'm not convinced that it's that it is a word worthy.
Okay. Thank you, Esther. Anybody else like to comment on that? Yeah, Dan. Sorry, Chris. Dan was sitting there, Chris.
We look so similar. There's a bunch of intentional choices here that I don't understand, and that's cool. Like, I think that the face shouldn't be centered. It's drifting to the right. That chiffon overlay, I take that as a veil. There are flowers on the texture to the right. There's some story of, maybe it's about wedding or betrothal, but the choice of colors is unusual. Like blue, that kind of baby blue and the yellow. Like I'm on 77, which I put above professional practice because of there's something that's tempting me with the story and I cannot quite wrap my head around it. If you can help me wrap my head around it, then I'm there.
Back to you, I think, Rebecca.
Yeah, look, I might be out on my own here. I think it was just worth having a chat about. For me, that slightly off-centre blue adds a bit of tension. Why? Sometimes we don't need to know why, but for me, it's been deliberate, and so there is something in there, and perhaps because I don't have the story, I think you're right, actually. I think it is a veil, and perhaps it is a wedding. Could it be the morning of her wedding? Could she be feeling torn in two halves, or feeling sad about a loss that she has on her special day, and that part of her feels sad, and then part of her is looking forward to the flowers and the lovely warmth. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm at 82.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let's rescore that print, please, judges. Sitting on 75. And it's moved up a point to 76. A good firm bronze for that photographer. Let's accept that. We'll have the next print, please. Next image, please. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Just do another go. It's not many bits left, is there?
It stays at 76, Bronze Award.
Sorry? Yeah, there's no title on this image, guys. And love to have some scores soon too, because we are running a wee bit behind time. Okay, we have a majority of 3 at 80, a silver award, and we'll accept that. Can we have a comment from somebody? Rebecca's putting a hand up. She should put a pen up.
What a clever graphical image. For me, there was a lot going on here that was to be rewarded in that silver range. I was at 83 actually. For me, it's about the pills or vitamins and what they do to you. And so the first one is sitting there quite stagnant. The second one is almost, for me, it's like a light switch. And the third one is firing up of the brain, little candle there. I don't know if that was the message, but I think it's been, well presented to us, so well done.
Thank you. Becca, next print, please.
We have a silver award at 82.
Next image. Oh, no, there is no title to this image.
Can we please have a comment for photographer
Image scores 73, professional standard. We'll take a comment from somebody, please. Chris?
I think the central figure in this, the bird, is really fascinating, and having it constructed of those flower petals is interesting. The flower petals that are out towards the edges, whatever technique was used to add them, it feels like they're solarized and they don't fit and they don't belong. And if they weren't there, I think this would be stronger.
Thanks, Chris. A little judge change here. Amber, would you like to take a break now? Thank you so much for your judging. And Janine, would you like to pop back on, please? Thank you. And we'll have the next print, please. The next image, please. Sorry, no captain. Okay, initial score of 81, but we do have pretty strong challenge there from Chris.
Wait till you hear it before you say it's a strong challenge. I'm on 86. There's such a strong feeling of isolation of a central figure in this. And like from a distance, kind of what I see is that one central figure in a little pool of light with stuff going on the outside. And so it speaks of being alone and maybe sadness because of the color temperature. When you get up closer, there's so much going on. I can see trees, especially to the left. I can see buildings, especially to the right. Sometimes those trees feel like other figures walking in the rain. There's textures and diagonal patterns coming in. There's so much chaos. This reminds me of what it's like to walk through a city in a crowd of people when you're not speaking to anyone and you're in your own little bubble and no one cares about you and you're on your own even though you're surrounded by people. So it's giving me that feeling of isolation when you aren't alone and it's still lonely. The emotive quality of this for me is very strong. Strengthened by the color temperature again. I'm on 86. I know we're on 81 now. I would love to have a chat.
Can we hear from Janine, please?
Thanks for challenging, Chris. I've now had time to just spend a little more time with this image, and I will be coming up. I am enjoying that narrative of being lonely in a busy place, especially because of the cloud above the central figure. It's like they're under a cloud, and they're blue. It's from the colour palette. So yeah, I will be coming up to silver.
Thank you. Who else would like to talk to this? Jackie?
I'm on 83, so, you could pull me up a little bit further for sure. The trees on the left, and I think it is a forest, there's a mixture of camera movements in here to do that. It's a pity they weren't a little bit sharper. I'm not sure about them being out of focus and movement, but I do. I particularly love the right-hand side. I just like to crop it a little bit, but that's just me. I love that there's a sense of roadway with those two lines diagonally coming through to that figure and giving a sense of depth. There's a real message going on here, and I am liking it.
Thank you, Jackie. I think that we'll come back to you, Chris.
Okay, so I heard mostly positives there. That's really good. The cloud is lovely. The roadway is lovely. I think for me, if those trees were sharp, we would spend more time on them. They would snag our attention. We should glide off of them. They should serve their purpose and then our eyes leave. So I'm really happy with them not being sharp. This feels like a silver distinction image to me, and I would love to have some company.
Thank you, Chris. Let's rescore it. Judges, please. And that did it. It's a silver distinction at 86. That's good pulling up there, Chris. That's a great job. Well done. So we accept that, and we'll move on to the next image, please. Oh, this one does have a a caption. The volatilic beauty of washed up seaweed.
I think it's supposed to be ballet, like ballet.
Balletic. I'm sorry. Someone else might have a go at that. Balletic. Thank you very much.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Looks like someone doing ballet.
Yes, I think that's the balletic. I've not come across the word before, but then yes. It's very fitting, though. Okay, initial score of 76, but again a challenge there from Chris. Would you like to take that on, Chris? He would.
Okay. Thanks for getting that word right, because I thought it was a beautiful study of an object until the word balletic was added. And now I can see a dancer, I can see a dress, I can see the flow that comes from someone going through a motion. And, as a dance photographer, capturing someone who is still, you see, a still image of someone in movement, you see all the flow of the dress, and I feel like you can see that. You can see their feet. So I'm on 81. It's just sneaking into silver. I'd love to have the discussion.
Okay, let's hear from Jackie next, please.
I scored this one a 72. Yes, a lovely study and a recognition of the shape looking like something, but it's cut out sort of nature sitting on top of a Gaussian sort of blurred background. The disconnect there is what's taking me away from that. There's no shadow. There's no. I mean, it's not in the air. It's not been thrown, and I would have loved that. But yeah, it's that. Sorry about that. Maybe monochrome could have been stronger for me, but I still listened.
Anybody else in support there? It's back to you, Chris.
So I'd say it is in the air. If you're capturing a dancer jumping and making a motion, you choose whether to leave the floor in or not. And if you crop it out, you get this floating figure. And unless, like if it's on a mottled background there, the background's off in the distance, out of focus, and we've all seen images of dancers who were sharp. I know we're spending a lot of time like comparing this to a dancer, but that's obviously the intent of the photographer based on the caption. I think they've executed that really well. I might be out on a limb here, but I'd love to see some folks coming up to silver.
Always worth a try. Let's go back to the scoreboard and see what happens. Sitting on 76, and we don't want a 79, do we? And we have a 77, just the same as next door by the sound. So yes, bronze. Let's accept that and move on to the next digital image, please. Print scores 75. It's just squeaked into the bronze range. 75, well done. And we'll take a comment. Janine, thank you.
Well done to the photographer for really pushing the boundaries of photography, which is part of the brief for this category. I mean, I see references to cubism and abstract versions of that. I think to improve, there are some sort of slightly crunchy bits in the image that I would like to see cleared up. They're not really texture. And there's a sort of a slice at the bottom, right on the edge of the frame, that is quite distracting.
Thank you. We'll accept that, and we'll move on to the next image, please. Oops, I just pushed the wrong button. Oh, go back. Okay, this has achieved a score of 81 silver. There is two people. Which one? Yep, Rebecca, you can take it on as one of two in the same award range. So, yep.
Just writing some little notes here. I'm absolutely thrilled that I have got to judge this. I saw this on the run through, and it immediately got my attention. For me, I've been to this place, potentially, where these birds lie and breed and what have you. And it is just, there's just chaos and movement and texture. And for me, it's like it's on a Hessian piece of fabric. And there's so much beautiful sort of goings on, but you still have enough information to know what's happening. This bird in the sky is trying to find a place to land. And it is very difficult when the entire ground is filled with the same, your mates. But it's how it's been presented to us that's high level of craft, very original, and I think it deserves silver with distinction. I'm on 85.
Thank you, Rebecca. Esther, are you on the other end of the scale there?
I am. I've given this a bronze at 77. There are a number of things that I'm enjoying about the image, and I'm listening.
Thank you, Esther. Janine, please.
I am also an 85. I love how Rebecca mentioned chaos, movement and texture. Now, this would be a massively noisy environment, and I almost feel like the photographer has done a really good job of conveying noise in a visual way, and that was my big takeaway from this.
Nice comment. Who else have we got there? Anybody else like to talk to it? No? Back to you, Rebecca.
I've just had another look at it and enjoyed it even more. There's, it's like crayon marks, you know, like a kid could have gone in there and just sort of added their own little marks to these sort of black and whites and the texture and things, and it's very sketchy, and I just think it's so original for this this image. Beautifully presented, and yeah, look, I've already said it, so I won't repeat, but come up with me.
Yes, let's rescore it, please, judges. Has gone up to an 85. That's good talking. That's good. Some very enjoyable comments there from the judges. That's good work. Thank you. Accept that, and we'll have the next image, please. Oh, this one has a caption: water on kale. Print scores 72. High professional standard. Now take a comment, please. Jackie, thank you.
Sure, I think it would have been come up to a higher scoring range without so much of the background that's dominating this, the wonderful kaleidoscope of colours and wave-like actions. It's quite Japanesey that's happening there. So crop it in and control those highlights.
Thank you, Jackie. Next print, please. Next image, please. Image scores bronze 77. Are we happy there? Rebecca would like to take it on. She's in a higher scoring range. Rebecca.
Yeah, I put this into silver 82. For me, the thing that really got me and probably put me up into that next range was it felt like she was submersing herself in a pool. And I know it's a mirror image, like I get that. But the clever part for me was seeing, going close and seeing from sort of her hips down that it looked like she was actually going into this pool of water, and it sort of created this other sort of floaty element for me, and I sort of forgot for a moment that it was a complete mirror. And if you want to even look at some other shapes and kind of squint your eyes a bit, I mean, you're also seeing sort of some sort of creature, insect, with arms going out and everything everywhere. And I think it's actually, I think it's been really well done. So I'm in silver.
Thanks, Rebecca. Let's hear from either Jackie or Janine. Jackie, take that first.
So
Thank you.
I scored at 74. The mirror, I didn't. For me, I found it disturbing. The bottom part there was so much potential that it could have been more like it was in water and moved around and taken me somewhere. The narrative is punching at us, but I think it's overlit. The background for me is coming forward too much without any reason, and so it's not creating that kind of atmosphere. What emotion can you tell me am I supposed to have, and what emotion is in her face? She looks to be quite static and posy. So there you go.
Thanks, Jackie. I think you're back on board there, Rebecca, with your right of reply.
Yeah, I mean, this is to sort of address the narrative. I mean, you could think that it was sort of, the water and the air and the fire and earth and all of those things, and she's melting into all of that. And I actually had another look at it, and she is sitting in a landscape, and there's this beautiful details around in and around the back that really show that she is in that water, and she is in this very delicate landscape, lakey, sort of beautiful place. And I can understand, I get where you're going with the sort of lighting, and it's a little bit harsh, and perhaps if that was softer and that kind of thing, I would have gone up a little bit more. But I think it's creative. I think it has an interesting graphic element, and that's why I'm rewarding it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let's bang those scores in. And it stays the same at 77, but it's always worthwhile debate, isn't it? And it is a bronze for the photographer. So we'll accept that and move on to the next digital image, please.
Just one more picture. Joe, thanks for joining us. Can we get Guru back on the panel, please? And Christopher, thank you very much. And we'll have Frank back, please. Next image, please.
Image scores 72, professional standard. Can I have a comment, please? Yes, thank you. Janine?
Look, the image of the bird is beautifully captured. It does look a little static in this against this background, which I really struggled to reconcile the background with the actual bird. I mean, it didn't seem to relate or add anything to the image of the bird.
Thank you for that. We'll accept that. Oh, I'm sorry. I already have. Okay. Next image, please. And this does have a caption. It's planning, photographing, Lightroom, adjustments, Photoshop. This image records 77, and there is a challenge from Jackie. Take it away, Jackie.
I'd like you to just consider walking along a road and finding wire or something that's there, and you start to see mountains and a landscape in something that's quite everyday and ordinary. It feels like twigs and things like that. You know, it's not a highly sophisticated piece of artwork because of that. I feel that the top hasn't been perhaps dealt with enough, but I rewarded it for its uniqueness and its simplicity and fineness. I think there's a lovely passion for line and texture from this photographer, and I'm getting that. I was on 83, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jackie. Lost my way here. Can we hear from, Chris, probably?
So I was down in 71 on professional practice. I wish I could see things the way you can see things. I didn't find enough to connect with this. I felt I could see a mountain range, but that was it. Like there were other things that didn't have a place. There's a cross that doesn't serve a purpose. There's a thing in the bottom left that doesn't serve a purpose. I think it doesn't feel like a cohesive piece of communication to me. It does feel like a discovery, and I've given it 71 because I think there is, we've observed something and then we presented it, and spotting those mountains, excellent. Coming up into silver, I want to see more communication. I want to see something that I can emotionally attach to, and if you can help me do that, then I'll move up.
Esther, you were up there with almost with Jackie.
Yes, I gave this a silver as well at 82. The communication actually comes from the fact that it is so primitive. They're almost like caveman drawings of their landscape. And I think that is its strength, that gorgeous, scratchy surface, which is somebody's interpretation communicating in a completely different way, in a completely different language. I think it's worthy of silver.
Thank you, Esther. Janine as well.
I did love the marks because of their sort of handcrafted, slightly random appearance, but they're, to my eye, just not quite strong enough against the really quite, in this case, dominant background relative to the marks. So, and it just not visually strong enough for me to hook into.
Thanks, Janine. Back to Jackie.
Yeah, I think it takes a quiet mind to interpret this. I think we're in a kind of Zen garden, and it's asking you to quieten down and just embrace the simplicity. And it's the things that are not quite right that make it, that give it the balance. Those marks in the bottom, that left-hand corner, are a lovely little counterbalance. They're kind of like a little signature. It's not meant to be a real landscape. It's an imaginary place that's allowing your mind to go there. And just think of that as being in a Zen garden. Perhaps that shadow at the top is from a roof that could be from, allude to that. Still on 80, we're asking you to come up and enjoy this on that level.
Thank you, judges. Let's rescore it. It's sitting on 77, and you give us an 80. That's a silver. So that's a good outcome, isn't it? We'll accept that score and have the next image, please. No, there's no caption. Sorry. Which has a score of 76, bronze at 76. Are we happy with that, judges? No? Rebecca would like to challenge that. What's your score, Rebecca?
I scored this in the silver range at 81. And for me, it's just fast and a bit furious and everything that you would expect when you go to this place and experience this, and the noise and the busyness and the craziness. And the thing that got me over the edge is you can see the outline very carefully of the driver's helmet, which is really dark in there, but it is there, and it looks quite sinister and a bit spooky, but it's there. And I think that the photographer has placed this vehicle, you know, and just for me, I believe in the really in the right place. You know, you've got these greens and these blacks and whites and all the madness coming in, and it just draws your eye in, and then the rest of it's kind of a bit of the rest of the track and the landscapey kind of stuff that goes on, and the colours are punchy. For all those reasons, I'm on silver.
Thank you, Rebecca. Chris, would you like to give us your opinion, please?
Yep, I'm on 72. I get the fast, but not the furious. Like, I don't get that sense of sound, and I don't feel a sense of crowd, because I can just see the car. And there are some artifacts that are maybe a product of the way that it was created, where there's some nearly vertical dark lines just either side of the car that are at odds with that motion. And then towards the top left, there's a really light section. All things that, you know, if the photographer chose to deal with it, we could remove. So perhaps this is intentional. The part that I enjoyed the most, actually, was on the grille. There's like little bits of detail where the motion, it almost made it look like a logo of a car that doesn't exist, which is sort of what put me up into the high bits of professional practice. But to come higher, I need some convincing.
Thank you, Chris. Who else have we got? Janine, please.
I awarded the 75 bronze, and I feel really comfortable with that. I felt like the beauty was in the background here. I do wonder whether those artefacts and vertical lines might be because it's been shot through a window. Just maybe.
Thank you. Anybody else? Rebecca, I think it's time to drive this one home.
Drive this one home. Might be a little bit out of luck here, but hey. Those vertical lines, I saw them. I think it frames the car well, keeps your eye in there, looking further into the car, and that's why I discovered the helmet. I would say there could be lights on the track. I don't see the artifacting a bit more than that. For me, the detail on the grille and the detail on the car is, you've just got enough to kind of know what's going on. Yeah, look, I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let's rescore that image, please. And it's gone up 1 point to 77. Nice firm bronze. Well done. I'll accept that score, and that was our final entry for the creative section. So I'd like to thank our judges very much. You've done a wonderful job. I'd like to thank my assistant Cindy, the students outside when they were putting up the digital prints, of course, a lovely audience for all of their participation, and people at home for watching, and above all, of course, our sponsor Nikon and our overall sponsor Sony. So thank you all very much.
And can we thank our awesome panel chair, Terry Hahn? Yay!
That was the last entry in this category.
Oh gosh, they finished as well. That's good fun, isn't it?